Alright, so welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining me in this journey. In the second part, we will be discussing about the Deferred Steinitz. Let's see on the board after e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, and a6. In this position, sometimes we will be focusing on the Murphy defense. But in this position, after bishop f4, our opponent also can play some normal moves like knight f6 or maybe play d6, which is called Deferred Steinitz. Let's see in this position if our opponent want to play some moves like d6, which is called Steinitz, but after a6 and d6 called Deferred Steinitz. In this position again, there's lots of moves like c3 plus d4 or maybe d4, maybe castling. These are all the best. But as we promising to you, we just want to play knight c3 and develop our knights, and maybe we want to play after that knight to d5, which is so dangerous and perilous knight in the center. In this position, our opponent can play different moves like b5, which is the main line, also bishop to d7, bishop to e7, knight to e7, and maybe knight to f6. Let's see one by one. b5, which is maybe the best and the main line. In this position, we must be defend our bishop, and we play bishop to b3. In this position, as we highlighted, there's two main lines, which is knight to f6 and knight to d4. Let's see first knight to f6, which is maybe the main line you called. After that, we just play knight to g5, which is we attack on the weak squares or weak pawn, which is f7 pawn. In this position, can defend it by bishop to e6 or d5, which is d5 is the main line. If bishop d6, bishop e6, we just can take with the knight and we win a pawn, which is not important, and we just can defend our knight, our bishop. And in this position, the main line is in the 7 move d5. In this position, we just can't take with the knight, and if we want to take, this will be great for us because our knight is very well, and also we pin the knight. So if we want to push our knight and h6, in this position we just can take first, we check, and after that we can take the pawn, and that knight is defended by the bishop. Let's see the other variation after b5, and in this position we see knight f6, but knight d4, and in this position we just can't take, and after that maybe there's also other moves like knight to d5, but that will be so risky because maybe our bishop will be trapping, and that's not good position. Because of that, we just go to knight e2, and after that maybe we want to focusing on the weak squares for the black. For example, if we want to develop the bishop and attack on our pawn, we just defend it, and after that we can easily develop our bishop and just castling. For example, in this position we can after that castling and maybe develop our bishop. Maybe we want to more attack with f4, why not? Let's see the other variation after knight c3. In this position we see the b5, bishop to d7, and just we can take, and d4. which is we want to play d5. If our opponent play in this position knight f6, attacking on the pawn, as you can see, now we just defending by the knight. In this position, not important for us, we just castling, because after rook we can play very well. Knight takes, bishop takes, and now we active our rook. Our queen is very well active, and also our bishop is very well. Just a pawn is not important because we just can't take it, and that position as well. So after bishop f5, bishop g5, attacking on the queen, f6, which is maybe you think defending, but unfortunately the diagonal of king will be weak. So we just take, because if we want to take our bishop, now we have a tactic, which is in this position we are attacking on the pawn, and also after, for example, want to play g6, maybe want to develop and just castling. In this position we take with check, and after that we can now take the b7 pawn, bishop takes, and now check, because if we want to take, which is normal, but this will be trappy moves, and here we can just take the bishop. Maybe in the future we can play something like check and win the queen, and this position is, as I see, this position is completely winning for white. Maybe this is not just opening, we arriving in the end game. So let's see the other variation in this position, bishop e7, which is maybe normally good moves, but just we play knight d5, controlling knight in the center, and maybe we want to take the bishop. But in this position, as you can see, this bishop is not very well. This bishop is bad bishop. We don't want to exchange because our knight is so powerful than the bishop on e7. After playing bishop knight f6, we just play knight to b4, because if we want to exchanging, that will be so bad for us. We exchange our strong knight with not so powerful for black. So in this position, after, if our opponent want take, this is unfortunately can't, because now the knight is pinned and we can use it. For example, castling, or can play bishop d5. Castling, we just can destroying the pawn structure and will be winning a pin, pinning and winning, which is a really great way. And in this position, if we want to play bishop to d7, we just again can take, and if also want to take with the bishop, we just can destroying the pawn structure of the queen side for the black. So in this position, b takes c6, and now we just got castling. This bad pawn structure is again for black. After castling, short castling, just play d5. If our opponent want to take, this will be great for us, because we just can take with the queen also. Why we can take the queen? Because there's not any knight which is arising and destroy our queen. So rook to b8, which is active the rook in the open file, maybe the semi-open file. In this position, just take the pawn, and this will be worst pawn structure for black. We can just winning pawn. Maybe we want to win another pawn, and now this will be so strong because we also defending our e4, strong e4 pawn. King to h1, which is a prophylaxis moves, because we don't want to arriving with the check and maybe great position for black. Just we want to play king to h1, and after queen e7 just take the pawn, and we don't want to again discovery our queen. So because of that, just defend, and after queen e5 g6. This g3. This g3 is very well, and now because that's defending the battery of the queen and bishop, which is want to trap and checkmate us. So we play g3, and this position is very good for us, and maybe we want to just develop the another pieces, and this will be great for us. Absolutely, the pawn structure is so bad. Let's see another position or another variation, which is after we see b5, bishop d7, bishop e7. Let's see knight e7. We just castling, because if we want to now play, this will be so bad for us. Maybe bishop to d7, knight d5. Now if we want to take, we can just take, and in this position we can also take, but if you want to take, this will be active the queen also. But now we just play c4, which is so a strong move, because now we're defending our bishop 2. After takes, we check, and now this maybe we want to go in this endgame also, which is absolutely good for us. Maybe in the future we want to play d4 and active our knight also, but in this position we don't want to exchange, and now we play queen to c2. After g6, which want to fianchetto the bishop and maybe just short castling. Rook to e1, active our rook. Bishop to g7, fianchettoing the bishop. d4. As we said, we just want to take, but in this position if our opponent want to take, now we don't want to take, because now the knight is pinned and the king is on the center. So we just play bishop to g5, and now this pin is perilous for the black. So d3, just want to take, we can take, and now if black want to take, this will be wonderful moves, because we can just winning the queen. So in this position play f6, and now maybe this knight is surviving, but just for a few minutes. Bishop to d2, short castling, knight to d4. As you can see on the board, this squares, which is e6, so strong, which we will be more discussing in the structure and in the middle game playlist. This moves will be so strong, and our initiative is, you can see. Let's see another moves, which is the last move on knight f6. Knight f6, just short castling, bishop to e7, and now in this position we take, and again we are arriving that bad pawn structure for the black. B takes, because there's no bishop to take. B takes c6, d4, attacking on the center. E takes d4, knight takes d4, bishop to e7. If want to more attack, this will be not very well. Bishop to d7, h3, a prophylaxis, another move which is we want to controlling maybe g4, h3, short castling, b3. In this position we play b3 because we want to fianchetto g2 and more attacking. Maybe we want to some attacks, and maybe also our rook can starting attack on the king side for the black. After c5, which we must be play because our knight in this position is so strong, we just play knight de2. Why? Because you can pause the video and answer this question. Why we play knight de2? Because we want to play a minor way, for example like this position, and we will be full controlling the centers with our two strong knight. After controlling this d5 squares, we just play knight g3. As you can see in this position, we don't want to go in d5, but we want to go in f5, which is another strong move. And if you want to see, now in this position also we defending our pawn. In this position, as you can see, the bishop for black is extremely bad moves, bad piece. After knight d7, we just play knight d5, because after exchanging in this position, our pieces are the best. As you can see, our attack is so strong, and maybe our queen want to go in attack, maybe the knight want to participate to the attack, and maybe the rook want to come, and this position is wonderful. And maybe why not, we want to make a powerful pawn structure or powerful pawn chain. So after this exchanging, now we can play queen to d2. Why queen to d2? Because we want to relate our rocks. So in this chapter we will be discussing about Deferred Steinitz, which is after e4 d5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, a6, and after bishop a4, d6, which is we will be see more in our games. So after this game we will be see some other minor variations like bishop to c5. So in future chapters we will be discussing more in the minor variations. Thanks, good luck, all the best.